Anytime you're ready.
Hi, good evening. My name's Jez Duke, and I'm going to read one of the poems out of the Blowing Out the Candles book, which is called 1987 Poem. Imagine Australia without Bob Hawke as Prime Minister, without a Prime Minister at all. There are no US bases, no military bases of any sort, no uranium mining or any other mining, no logging of rainforest or of any other forest. No one is being run down by cars and trucks. There are no rabbits, no feral cats, feral pigs, feral goats, feral sheep, feral cows and feral dogs. No native plant and animal species are endangered. There are no worries with the stock exchange, the current account deficit or the balance of trade. The Kuris are in command of their own destiny. No one is addicted to alcohol, tobacco or poppy seed alkaloids. There is no AIDS and no herpes. There is no gambling on horses or rolling balls. There are no police and no jails, no members of the RSL or the Chamber of Commerce or the National Farmers Federation, no judges or accountants, no whiz-kid high-flyer financiers making money out of nothing, no high and mighty doctors making life in test tubes. New life is made the natural way, food the natural way, everything else the natural way. You can't imagine it, hard I know. Well, think about Australia in 1787. I wrote this one when the 150 years of Victoria thing was on, but I think it'll serve just as well for the bicentennial bullshit. It's called Happy Birthday Australia. This seems a time of significant moments. Important anniversaries are approaching. 150 years of Victoria, 200 years of Australia. We're told it's our birthday and we must celebrate. Well, I suggest you celebrate in a genuine early Australian manner. You should get yourself a flag. It can be any design you like. You should attach your flag to a pole. You should wander around until you find some land that you really like the look of. Then you should put your flagpole in the ground and say in a loud and official voice, I claim this land for my king, or my queen, or my president, or my company, or myself. Take absolutely no notice of the people who live on this land. If they object too much, kill them. That's the genuine early Australian way to celebrate. Have a happy birthday. This one is about my background, which is perhaps sort of a slight parallel with the queries and attempts to explain sort of why we're all in this country where we don't really belong, I suppose. It's called Learning My Own Language. I can't speak my own language, which is called Gaelic, spelled G-A-I-D-H-L-I-G. Neither could my parents, or their parents, or their parents' parents. We lost our way a long way back, somewhere in the 17th century. You see, the English outnumbered us. They had more men and bigger guns. Nothing infuriated them more than hearing another language spoken. Where guns failed to exterminate Gaelic, ridicule mostly succeeded. Gaelic speakers were ignorant peasants, a backward race, destined to die out and be replaced by stronger people. The escape hatch was to learn English, or burla. So my ancestors stopped being Irish and became Anglo-Irish. They even dumped their Gaelic names. That worked for a while. Then it was discovered that Ireland was overpopulated with these horrible backward people. However, they might still be of use. They could be sent to populate the colonies, like Australia, where they could help paint the map red, uphold the empire, sing God Save, work the land, serve in the army, and speak English and pay their taxes. And my ancestors did this. They selected land stolen from the Kuris. They became Irish-Australian potato farmers instead of Anglo-Irish ones, at Portillo and Napoleon's and Quambatook instead of at Bandon and at Clonakilty and at Macroom. They attained a bit of prosperity, but they were mostly regarded by their English neighbours as those Irish in their bog of ignorance, an inferior race incapable of logical thought, professing an alien religion and speaking with a disagreeable accent. 100 years passed. Many other immigrants arrived in Australia from all sorts of countries, many speaking their own language. The Australian English started to take fright. They might be swamped by foreigners. Nothing infuriates them more than hearing another language spoken. They looked around for allies. They discovered the Irish. The Irish were really all right after all. Some of them were even in the Liberal Party. Immigration from Ireland should be encouraged. 100 years ago, my grandparents were Irish hooligans, but I'm okay. I come from good Irish racial stock. I'm okay as long as I keep on speaking English. Australia differs from England now, you see. In England, the Irish are still a problem. They are subjected to jokes like, did you hear the one about the Irishman who drowned trying to push start his submarine? As it happens, an Irishman invented the submarine, John P. Holland of County Clare. It's not really an achievement to be proud of. In England, it's still the height of wit and humour to do a bad imitation of someone else's accent. I've started learning my own language, not the one I'm writing this in, that's Burla. I'm forced to use it. It's a master race language, one that you've got to learn to get on, to please the rich and powerful. A big nation, superpower, high-tech language, spoken by the President of the USA and the New York Stock Exchange and Hollywood and the CIA, spoken as it happens by people whose ancestors aren't English mostly, like Reagan and Schultz and Weinberger and Kissinger and Rockefeller and Guggenheim. Gaelic is sure different. It's low on the master race scale, not suitable for shrieking commands, making nuclear bombs and rigging the stock market. Nouns precede adjectives. For example, Bantata Moor is big potato. Bantata Biak is small potato. There is no K, no Q, no V, no W, no X, no Y, no Z. H is only a half letter. It can't stand alone. It only modifies other letters. The letter T is a ch sound. Chainer, meaning fire, is spelt T-E-I-N-E. Sentences all start with verbs. For instance, in var iad agkur bantata, which means they were planting potatoes this year, var is the verb. It's the language of an old and natural world, moving at the pace of the donkey and the wheelbarrow and the rowing boat. It's hard going for me. My mind is set in other ways. I'm very slow to learn. I make mistakes. I get discouraged easily. I find conversation particularly hard. I have to think of what I want to say in Burla and then translate it into Gaelic. People tell me it's a waste of time, a dead language. No earthly use to anyone, especially me. I'm a sort of scientist, as it happens, grappling with the chemistry of water and sewerage. I missed out on potato farming. It's probably been turned into agri-business, only suitable for people speaking English. No food for the hungry. Moor and sure he had beer gwyn, bithi antakris uren, nam tuge iad beer gwyn, bithi shinshona, hur via va naduinia, via gab. If they will not give us food, we would be hungry. If they would give us food, we would be happy. Give food to the people. I will give them food.